Hello. So I decided to make a video because we are all here sheltering in place. And among the things that have been on my mind lately is the conversation around Christianity and how that impacts friends, let's say. And the conversation is timely because of the Clark Sisters movie that premiered this Saturday. And yesterday was Easter Sunday. So Christians around the world celebrated the return of our Jesus Christ the King. So this is a rant. One person may see this video, 12 people may see it. I don't know. But if I'm going to continue to sit here in quarantine and have people continue to get on my nerves, then I'm going to have to get this out. And once it's out in the world can do what it wants and I can move on. But I wanted to just share some things and address some things um, that will help me to contextualize this in a way that I can package and put away. So I have not taken any notes. I don't have an outline. I'm just freestyling this. So I appreciate those of you who choose to be patient and sit through this. What this conversation is not about is how Christianity was forced upon enslaved African people to control them. We're not going to talk about that. What we are going to talk about is how Christianity and religion show up in the lives of Black people. So, I have a friend whom I love dearly, been friends for most of my life. And this friend made a comment that, okay, let me back up. I have a group of friends who have been my ride or dies since high school, which was for me some time ago. And I've been fortunate that we have remained close. And, of course, like any friends, have had our issues over the years, but have maintained an honest friendship. Um, Over time, a couple of people have been folded into that friendship and, love them the same. It is what it is. My best friend is one of those people. So, this friend group is made up of Black women, heterosexual Black women, and two gay Black men, me being one of them. And clearly, this is not to compare struggles. My walk through life has been different than those of my sisters. Um, and I maintain that Black women bear the brunt of the racism and sexism that is pervasive in American society and global society. So, with that said, I'm owning my own walk, my own struggles, and what I've been through as well. And so, there are moments when we come together and when we converse, whether it's online, chatting, or when we're in person catching up, and things may be said that, there has to be a, well, not, hold on, bitch, a moment. And that's fine. You correct, you keep it moving, you have a laugh, you understand each other a little bit better. And I think that's ultimately what friendship is growing to learn and understand each other more as time goes on. And if you're fortunate, you continue to grow and learn more about the other person and your walks remain in parallel. So some of my friends are very like, Jesus is the king and he is the first and he is the last. And and God will fix it. And if you just let him come through, he'll do things that are beyond your understanding. And okay, that's fine. I grew up, a little more context. All of us grew up in the Christian church, Baptist church, whatever the denomination, we all kind of came up in similar, but as I've matured as a gay Black man, my walk has taken me away from the church. It has affected and shaped my beliefs in God and the Creator differently than it has my homegirls, right? And a little bit, I'm speaking kind of for my other friend. He knows who he is. But God looks different to me at 42 than he did at 17, than he did at 28. So God is very fluid to me, for lack of a better phrase. But I have these homegirls who are still very rooted in the traditional, the Bible is the Bible and the Word is the Word. And, they love me as a brother, but there are still things that they believe that are stupid to me or that don't make sense to me. But I'm not here to call that out. I'm just like, okay, girl, you believe what you believe. I believe what I believe, and let's leave it at that. But every now and then, Black Christianity rears its ugly head. And I think that I have been so used to kind of rolling with it and just like, okay, girl, it is what it is. And I think that's the general consensus. Even a couple of my homegirls who are not as devout or not as, steeped in the church, we all just kind of roll with it because sure, why not? It's the template we're familiar with. And so even me in the relationships and other friendships I have, I'll kiki about God, da, 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 da. But that's because that's what I grew up in. That's what's comfortable to me. But if we sit down and we have a conversation about God and what God is to me, you're going to get something very different. So take that as it is. So my homegirl makes this comment. My friend posts a meme in our group chat on Easter Sunday, which is the meme that many people have seen with Devon from Big Brother when she comes out the Big Brother house and she does the little quick step. And then someone took that, stylized, and put Jesus over it, and it's an animated GIF that looks the same. So my friend posted that in our friend group chat, and one of my homegirls felt a way about it. And so she made this really offhanded comment, which was offensive to me, but it also was confusing. So I just replied, huh? Because I'm like, let me give her an opportunity. Let me create space for understanding and give her the opportunity to explain and contextualize that so we can, the conversation can move in whichever way it needs to move. But she never responded to that message in the group. And then my friend tells me shortly after, yeah, she hit me up and we're talking about it now. We're texting and we're going to talk on the phone. And because then it was apparently she knew she had offended him because he made the comment, but I think she also knew she offended me. But I was like, you know what? I'm not in it. I didn't make the post. I'm not going to address it. I'm not going to talk about it. So yesterday they had this whole conversation about it. He filled me in on what was said. We had our own exchange and kind of debrief on that and moved on. I moved on. I didn't have anything else to say about it. I didn't feel it was addressed to me, so I didn't need to talk about it. But what I did say to him yesterday was, I think as a friend group, we've done so much of the good time shit together that we've forgotten that we need to have the honest conversations about the bigger things. As we get older and our lives change, they're continuously changing. Some of us are married, some of us have kids, some of us have moved away, some of us are, succeeding really well, some of us are trying to still find our footing. And we all have different, and we all been living our lives in the middle of that. And so we come together in these moments, several times a year, but none of us are sitting together like we were in high school in our day to day. And so while all of this is happening, I'm like, well, it is what it is, and we'll have this conversation later. But I think because we haven't had the conversation, it leads us every now and then to these awkward moments where someone will make a post about, well, just pray and God will fix it. And I roll my eyes. And somebody else will say, just whatever, something really churchy. And I'm like, oh, girl, there they go, being Black Christians again. And I try to keep my understanding and my ability to understand open so that when these things come up, that I can deal with them as objectively as possible. So in this moment, my girlfriend made this comment. My friend didn't like it. They had a separate conversation, like I said, moved on. So she hits me up today, and I'm sitting on the couch minding my business. I took today off from work because I needed time for myself on a weekday. And she hit me up and basically was like, "Hey, did you talk to um, so and so about the exchange we had?" And I said, "Yeah, he filled me in. We talked about it. It is what it is. That's that." And so she's like continuing to have the conversation. I'm like, "Girl, there's no tea. I don't really feel a way." I'm like, "I feel how I felt about it. We talked about it separately. I don't really need to talk about it because you weren't talking to me." And ultimately, she felt like because I had made the comment, that there was something there. And yes, it's true. There was something there, but I create the space. What you do with that space is up to you. But ultimately, I was like, I don't need to talk about this. I don't need to have a conversation about everything that happens. Anyway, so she and I get into this long, drawn out text conversation. And at one point, she did want to talk on the phone. And I'm like, I don't feel like talking about it. Like, I don't need, and I was like, I'm not mad at you. I don't need to, we don't need to get into this because it's not that big a deal. We can just move on and it's cool and it is what it is. And we moved on. But as the conversation continues, it becomes this defensive, in her perspective, this defensive conversation like, well, Easter is special, a special day. And, I don't like jokes about God and, and, um, I'm very into, my practicing and now, and I'm like, and this is a classic case of I know who you were, but I'm gonna let you be who you're trying to become, girl. And that's fine. But what I think Black people get wrong so many times is they believe that because they practice Christianity, because they identify as Christian, because they know Bible verses, and because every now and then they sit in a church house, they think that that excludes them from the responsibility of being people, of having respectful interactions with people. You don't get to be offensive or to talk down to me or to say things that are rude and not be held accountable for it because you identify as Christian. That's not what this is. And I'll go further and say, I don't think Christianity is about teaching people to be better people. It's about teaching people to operate within this religious framework that's been laid out. We're not going to get into that either. But we as individuals, as a group, even though we'll go along, some of us will just go along with the conversation to keep the conversation going. You can believe and hold a different concept of what God is, and that's fine. And I have my own, and that's fine. And I think getting back to something I was about to say earlier is it's so important that in your friendships that you have these meta conversations about how you perceive the world, what your framework around worship is, if you worship a creator, if you don't, what does that look like? What does that mean to you? Um, because I think one, it helps garner a better understanding of the people that you choose to love and have in your life. And two, it helps prevent issues around a lack of understanding. And so, as my friend and I continue to have this back and forth dialogue, I had to keep reiterating because we were on text, like, girl, I'm not mad. I don't feel a certain way about you. You're my friend. I love you. Da da da. But we're talking about a thing you did, and since you want to keep talking about it, then let's talk about it. And I could have picked up the phone, but I didn't want to because I don't want to have any more exhausting conversations. Not today. Maybe tomorrow we can talk. But today, I didn't have the room for it and I didn't want to make the room for it. But we did continue to exchange over text. And the bottom line was, I told her, I said, what you said was offensive. Your reaction was offensive because she had a negative reaction to the meme that was posted in the group. And her excuse was, well, Easter is a very special day. And, I don't like to joke about God. And I don't see God as effeminate, if that's the politically correct word. And I'm like, girl, oh, girl. First of all, it's a meme. Second of all, humor, if you can't put humor in your religion, y'all know what Christians who take their God extremely seriously and devoutly look like. So if you can't, and the tradition of the Black church, Black people, humor is part of our makeup and who we are. So if you can't insert humor into your relationship with God, then you're already messing up. But that's an opinion, fine. If God is supposed to be understanding and just, but you can't react to people in a manner that is understanding and just, if your reaction does not seek understanding, if your reaction seeks not to understand but to reprimand, then you're doing it wrong. And what you did to your friend in that moment was offensive. It doesn't make you a bad person. It doesn't make the per the it doesn't make my friend a better person. It doesn't make me a better person. It doesn't make you again a worse person. It's a thing that happened between friends. And you can't lean on the crutch of your belief to excuse your conduct with the people who you, first of all, people, period, but particularly in this case, the people who you call your friends and your brothers. Have the conversations about God with your friends. Include them in the conversations about your memories of high school, your memories on your trips, your conversations about your kids, conversations about the trouble that you're having with your spouse or your boyfriend. Include these conversations about where you stand and who God is to you, if you even believe. We just happen to all believe in God. But what that looks like to each of us is very different. And I think you would get I think if we were to sit down and have that conversation as a group, we would really be surprised by the answers that we share. But as my friend said, I would opt out of that conversation because I don't think that we're equipped to have it. And honestly, based on some of the other disputes we've had in the past, she's probably right. I don't think most of us will be able to sit down in an open forum and have a conversation about God. We talk over each other. We had a video call a couple weeks ago, just like a happy hour video call. And I think every group of friends does this who've known each other for over 2 decades. You talk. You talk over each other. You cut each other off, and it's nothing to it. It's just everybody's trying to get in their words. So I can't imagine us realistically trying to sit down and have that conversation about God and what God means to us and what religion looks like. Um, I wish that we were able to, and I know that there are people in the group. I know that I could have this conversation individually with everybody in the group, but I don't think we could ever sit down as a group and have that conversation. And it doesn't hurt my feelings. It's just sad because I think you miss out on, there's a part of us that maybe not be closed off to each other, but it's just, we can't navigate it because we don't know what it looks like. So have those important conversations. And I was going to talk a little bit more about, you know, other issues within Black Christianity, but I'll keep it to this. Just, for your friends and the people who you love, have those conversations. It's let it be part of the overall conversation you have so that you can know each other better, so that you better know how to deal with each other, how to interact. And it's not in the interest of not stepping on toes, but it's about understanding what makes people tick. And I'm someone who, I want to be understood by the people who love me. And so I am always willing to have conversations like that. Um, but that's just my thing, I guess. So I'll leave it at that. I needed to get that off my chest. I feel better having said all of this. Um, and maybe if it helps one person have that check-in that maybe they didn't know that they could have, even if it's with me, even if like somebody, a friend of mine is watching this and is like, damn, let me talk to Bertram about this. um cool, by all means, I'm here. I don't have anything else to do. I'm not going anywhere. Have a good Monday. Later.